Okay, you guys, so I'm looking at some nice setups for this week coming up, but there's one huge problem that we're going to be dealing with, and that is this week we got a lot of interest rate. This is a interest rate news week, basically. And the one that's concerning to me is right here, the Fed interest rates. So you got JPY coming out with their interest rates, AUD coming out with theirs, you got the Swiss coming out with theirs, and then you also have the GBP coming out with theirs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the 7 currencies are going to be coming out with interest rates this week, but the biggest one is going to be the Fed interest rate. So we got to look out for that. We do also have GBP coming out with their inflation numbers, but we'll see how that goes. But this is going to be the biggie on Wednesday, so we got to keep our eyes open on that. All right, so hopefully that explains that. Anyway, I'll go over the setups. I'm always on the 4-hour time frame looking for confluence when trading. So I'm looking at my trend lines, I'm looking at the daily dot resistance, seeing if it's in support levels and things like that. So this one would be a nice sell trade right here on GBP Swiss. For an example, we have the outer trend lines crossing with the inner trend lines right there, intersecting. We have the daily dot, and we have also the resistance zone right here. So when you drop down to the 15-minute, we see that there is some problems here. So that would be a nice sell. But again, the Swiss is coming out on Thursday with their interest rate. So, and GBP is coming out with theirs on Thursday. So we got a little bit of time, but we'll see. I'm going to be trading light this week because of that. So I'm just going to skim through these and see if there's anything that I like for the first few days before Hell Week. I call it Hell Week when it's a lot of interest rate news. I do like this CAD JPY. It depends on the CAD. With the CAD, you got to remember you're getting a lot of spiking and carrying on, as you can see here, because it's tied to oil, which is having to do with the Iran-US war. So even though this is sitting on a support level, you can see the green daily dot there. You can see the intersection where the outer trend line support is here. The inner trend line is intersecting. So this is the trifold area that I like. But the only problem is that I am not seeing what I need to see to feel comfortable, which is it into this support green zone. So I'm going to trade carefully on this. I keep my eye on it. It may come down and retest. I don't know. We got to see what the weekend gap does and all that kind of stuff. But this is something that I will keep my eye on. That one there I don't like. This one I don't. There's going to be very few that I like for the time being until the weekend gap is over and we see what the news is. Because what can happen is, like for an example, this is up against the outer trend line. The inner trend line is showing resistance. But because of what's going on with CAD and the oil, this can break through and retest up to this level here, which actually I would prefer it. If it was to scoot all the way up there to that level, I would really feel comfortable tackling this trade, Euro CAD. We did win the trade on this one earlier when it dropped right from here to here. That was a nice trade, but I'm looking forward to another trade on this. But I would prefer if it does break out of this area right here. And when I say area, I mean this range right here, okay, right there. So you see right here, it was resistance in this level, it was resistance in this level. If it breaks out and comes up to this level here, I would actually like it a lot better. So I'm going to keep my eye on things, okay? Especially after Wednesday, because the main thing is the Fed interest rate news. As you can see, this is giving a double bottom off of strong support. See, this is what I like. That double bottom off of that strong support right here, and then you go up and for a thunder thrust to the top. And this could pop all the way up. Man, that would really be nice. Especially you can see this red trend line right here, which is showing the inner trend line, is showing respect of the trend line here, 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 here. And if it breaks through this outer trend line and pulls back, retest it, and use it as support, then we are looking for strong buys. But again, because of the interest rate news on the Feds, I'm not willing to take that trade. If it wasn't for that, yeah, that would be a definite on my radar, but it could bounce and drop because of that. So it can go either way. So I don't feel confident on that one, okay? I'm just showing you guys what I would be looking for. This is a scraggly pair right here. Nasty looking. Too choppy for me. See all that chop, chop, chop? No, I'm good. All right, let's keep going. I don't see anything else. Like for an example, this is one I've been keeping my eye on. We did win a trade on it right here. pretty nicely. You can see it's heading right into my red zone. It's in the intersection, right? You can see the daily dot. You can see the outer trend line right here, the inner trend line right here. You can see resistance. Go to the 15-minute, try to see if there's anything there. But here's what I'm talking about. Because it has to do with oil, this thing can drop and then come back up. It could break through here. And so I'm just not comfortable until I know that the deal is signed, which, by the way, this is what I was telling you. So if I shrink this a little bit more, which I did, see, you can't see it like this, but I shrink my charts so I can look all the way to the left and to the past, and I can see this was a peak area. So if it shoots up into this range right here and retests this level, this is what I'm talking about. That's what I was showing on ECAD as well. Right there. See, that's the level. If it's going to break through and test, I would love for it to get stuck up in this area. But of course, GBP is coming out with their interest rates, but I would still love it to be right there. That's the range right there. Come up in there and we good to go. I'll pounce on that thing like crazy. Okay, put a nice little stop on it, and if it breaks through that zone, it breaks through. You know, you're not going to win every trade, but that's what I'll be looking for. All right, so again, see, here's the trifecta. You can see this was the inner trend line, but the dots are representing the outer trend lines, which means they were correlating together, and then you have the daily dot. Every time that happened, look what happened. Boom, drop, boom, drop, boom, support. Okay, so this is the stuff I'm looking for. I'm looking for correlations. Like here, this is a correlation. Here's the outer, here's the inner, daily dot, support. Resistance. This gold bars is my resistance. I changed the color. This is my resistance along the daily dot, and then the zone. So this is why you have that. And when they did that the last time, look, stuck and drop. Coming to support, bounced up. Just simple stuff. Just simple. I just love the beauty and simplicity of it. See how this one came to a strong support level. Came up, retested, and bounced out. So this one could continue to the upside. That's NZDJPY. I would favor buys over sales on that one, and possibly to come back and up and retest all the way up if possible. That would be beautiful. So that's it so far. Nothing there. Like I said, I'm going to be trading very lightly this week until I find out what's going on. I did like this pair at first, but we'll see. It could continue to push higher. That's what I'm thinking. It could break out and come all the way up to this level here on the daily. See that? And retest right to that level. So for me, which I'm going to put a line right here, that I'm anticipating not a sell, but more of a buy into this level right here. If it comes up to that level, then I will feel more comfortable. And if I pull this down and shrink this, you guys will see what I'm talking about. See how little that's. All right. So if it breaks through and comes back up to this level, because again, it's the interest rates is going to be affecting it along with the oil situation, and it's in a strong trend. So I wouldn't fight this trend if I was you. I do see that it's coming to this level right here. It may stop here, but if it doesn't stop here, then I'm assuming that it's going to keep going from here and to there, and that's another 131 pips. So I'm leaving certain pairs alone. I'm just not going to touch it until I know what's going on. So this one was a pair that we did hit very nicely, like a slot machine on this one. So what happened was this one came in to my zone. You can see everything was very beautiful, very simple trade, and I took this trade and whopped the lot. Okay, whopped the lot. Now, in all honesty, one of the trades that we did lose on last week, it was on me, because there was a setup here. But then when the news came out that Trump had paused the launching of the strike against Iran, then the market broke through our resistance level and shot up and hit. Then it stalled out and came right back down. And so I did lose that trade. It was a beautiful setup, but you know, things happen. So I came back in and got this trade, and I had this one running simultaneously. And as soon as this one dropped, this one cleaned up our loss and put us right back in profit. That was a nice winner to recoup on the loss on the US CAD. So that's how we had 8 wins and 3 losses last week. One of the losses was on me, and I accept responsibility for that. By the way, somebody had asked about who trades the Forex and who trades this, that, and the third. So when it comes to the Forex trades, all 3 of us, me, Miss Jenny, and Dr. Elvis, trade this together. When it comes to oil and silver, that's strictly Dr. Elvis. When it comes to US US Tech, that's strictly Miss Jenny. And when it comes to gold, that's strictly me. All right. So that's how that breaks down, because that question did come out, and